From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
What's up, world? It's the one and only Pop DBICD Primetime Capper. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great. And it is time for the premier sports betting show, the Primetime Angles. So let's go ahead and jump into our first topic. And you guys already know it was the news that came in late last night, but Josh McDaniels has been relieved of his head coaching duties by Raiders owner Mark Davis. Now, my thing is like this. I don't know about firing the coach, but I do know about firing the owner because he's the one that keeps making these bad decisions. But let's go ahead and break down why McDaniels got fired. Pretty much for the second time on national television, the Raiders were absolutely embarrassing. And, a few weeks back, you guys remember, I even said that the Raiders should really think about firing Josh McDaniels because it's not working. And this was after the Steelers game when there were some really bad mistakes that were made. And so a lot of people were very quick to say, no, he was doing the right things and he played it smart and the defense was the one that lost the game. Okay. And as weeks keep going by, you see Devontae Adams not being a factor in any of the games. You see Jimmy G get hurt, like literally like almost killed during a game, and he was trying to keep him in the game. Then he has this confusion on who to start at quarterback. Does he want to start the rookie or does he want to start Brian Hoyer, of all people, who's just really a guy who teaches you the other quarterbacks the playbook? Like, there was a lot of things that played parts into McDaniels being fired, but once again, they had to have the same meeting that they had in Denver where you talk to the veterans and then they went over what the culture's like with Josh McDaniels as the head coach, and literally finally the light bulb turned on for Mark Davis, and he goes ahead and he fires Josh McDaniels. Josh McDaniels should have never had a second season with the Raiders. It was pretty much already a bad situation going into that. But Mark was stuck because Mark gave him a 6-year deal. And this is where Mark Davis has to be chastised because he keeps doing the same exact bullshit. I'm sorry. I know I don't like to cuss on the show and everything to keep things PC and things like that, but this man is an absolute joke of an owner. He just literally is hiring people who are just his buddies. Like, if you're friendly to him in the interview, if you kiss his ass enough, he'll give you the job. And then all of a sudden, he thinks he has his best buddy in the whole wide world, the head coach of the Raiders, us against the world, blah, 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 blah. But all it is that guys are just keep tricking him into running a football team and then running this football team into the ground. Absolutely. It seems like these guys have a vendetta against Al Davis. A lot of them. It seems like the last three coaches, well, not Del Rio. Let me take that back. Del Rio, Bisaccia, great coaches because they understood the Raider culture. They understood the Raider fans. They understood everything about being a Raider. That's the whole thing. But Gruden was trying to be a dictator, and that wasn't working, but it didn't matter. He wasn't going to get fired until that situation occurred, because that was what he was on. That's what Mark Davis felt was the right way to go. Let's go get John Gruden, a guy that your dad pretty much banished from the Raider facility, from the Raider lure, from Raider anything. He pretty much scrubbed his name from Raider history, but you brought him back. Okay, you fired Reggie McKenzie, who got you Derek Carr, who was an MVP candidate before he snapped his ankle. And then also you got you Khalil Mack, prime Khalil Mack at his absolute best, who was a defensive player of the year. So, Mark Davis, you need to start checking yourself because you're the one that's the main problem in this situation since you took over for your father. It's just been an absolute just shit show with this man in charge. Yeah, it wasn't that great with Al Davis at the end, and it was kind of a circus and things like that, but it was getting organized. It was getting put back together the correct way. Then when he hired Reggie McKenzie, I felt like getting Reggie McKenzie and then him hiring Jack Del Rio, this all worked out very well. And the Raiders became a very good unit, and they started putting things together as a very good unit. And then the moment they moved to Vegas, this guy wants to go berserk with being some diva or something of that nature. So pretty much at the end of the day, Josh McDaniels never deserved another head coaching job in the NFL. Everybody knew that, but he still gets interviews every single year. So it was really pretty much to see where his head was at. Did he get better? And you know what? He decided not to go to Indianapolis because he knew he wasn't going to be able to play the same game that he played with the Raiders with Indianapolis. The Browns were going to hire him, but then thought about it at the last minute when he got Kevin Stefanski because they said to themselves, nah, we're not going to put this on the hometown kid from Canton because we don't want him to mess this thing up because we know that the pressure is going to be too high for this guy. And pretty much that's what happened. You put him in two high pressure situations where he couldn't build teams. And you know what? Josh McDaniels lived off of Tom Brady for his whole career pretty much. And Mac Jones' last few seasons should have showed you that that's exactly what happened. So, pretty much with that, the Raiders make a good decision. Is it the right decision? We'll go ahead and see. Antonio Pierce takes over the team. The Raiders also fired their general manager, Dave Ziegler. They also fired their running backs coach as well, too. And they also fired their incumbent offensive coordinator, Mike Lombardi's son, as well, too. So they really cleaned out a lot of the issues that they felt that they had with McDaniels and those guys right there. And you know, McDaniels and Ziegler were a package deal. So that's why Ziegler got fired the way that he did as well, too. So with that, that's going to be a wrap on Josh McDaniels and his Raider tenure. And the Raiders saga continues. That's all I can say. See you Sunday. Sunday night. Well, no, you don't get Sunday night football, Raiders, but see you Sunday afternoon. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out. Let's see if this is going to help the team actually win, actually look a lot better than they have over the last few months. Okay. So with that, let's move forward and get into our next topic at hand. And that's going to be the Rangers move closer to their first world title with the 11-7 win over the Diamondbacks to take a 3-1 lead in the series. So pretty much you have a Rangers team that's a day away from going ahead and calling it a season and celebrating with the biggest moment of the year. And pretty much this is where we're at. You know, you have a Diamondbacks team with their back against the wall once again, okay? Down 3-1. This time around, they were down 3-2 before and were able to win that series against a Philadelphia team that might say that they're better than this Texas Rangers team. And the Rangers got some bad news. Scherzer's out for the remainder of the playoffs, and also Adolis Garcia is out for the remainder of the playoffs. So those two very important players were actually out. They're actually out, okay? So that's something that, you know, didn't really play a factor into last night because Corey Seager just had a night. Okay, Corey Seager delivered, and Corey Seager is really making the Dodgers pay. That's all I can say is that he's making the Dodgers pay for everything. You know, he's making them pay for the idea that he wasn't worth the price of admission. Okay, the guy hit a 2-run home run last night that pretty much sealed the deal. Gave him a 5-run second inning, then they came back around and doubled back with the 5-run third inning, and that's pretty much ball game right there. They were up 10-0. Forget about it. They literally you could not. You could hear a pin drop in Chase Field last night. It was just that game was over quickly. And one thing you can say that the Arizona Diamondbacks did not quit. You know, in the end, they got after that point. They did score 7 runs, and they only gave up 1 after that point. But that doesn't matter. The damage had already been done. And you know what? They just told themselves, get ourselves prepared for tomorrow night. It's that simple. Get yourself ready for tomorrow night. It's nothing else you can do. You already got your butt handed to you early, and pretty much you keep fighting, and you'll take that momentum into tonight. That's how it looked for me with the Arizona Diamondbacks, and I don't think the Arizona Diamondbacks are going to sit up here and get swept at home either. So I truly do think tonight is going to be a much different game between these two teams. And since they don't have Garcia here tonight, it's going to be a different look for them because now they have to adjust without one of their power bats in. Last night, it was fresh. It was something that was really not known until after the game. But now they know that they don't have that power source in there. But Corey Seager is so good right now, doesn't matter, because that's what it really looks like. If I'm the Diamondbacks, I got to figure out a way to where Corey Seager does not hurt me tonight. So you might need to give him the Barry Bonds treatment. You know what I mean? I'm sorry. I know it seems like it's not a good idea, but who's hitting better than him in the group other than Simeon? See what I'm saying? So that might be played into strategy tonight to where you might have to, give him a buddy pass and let him just get to first base on his own, So you have to really see exactly how this game is going to shape up. But I think that what the Diamondbacks need to do, they need to get back to their basics, and they need to really figure out a way to go ahead and make these guys chase pitches like they've been doing throughout the whole playoff. And the Rangers are so good at not chasing pitches, and that's where the Rangers have been so much better than the Diamondbacks, and they've been able to win these games against the Diamondbacks too because they don't, they're patient. They're not that aggressive. But tonight they may be a little over aggressive because you know what? You want to get this thing over with because Texas has figured out their momentum really lies on the road. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, they have the opportunity to go 11-0 on the road with a win tonight and take home the World Series. Pretty much that's the amount of wins that you need to win a World Series in these games. You know what I mean? So pretty much they're right there at the cusp of history, and they're right there at the cusp of holding up their first title. And there's a lot of expectations going in tonight. I know that the Texas Ranger fans are ready to celebrate tonight, even though they would love for them to come back and them celebrate this in their stadium with a big win. But you can't afford that right now. Not with the team like the Diamondbacks, who are playing just as well on the road. And if you give the Diamondbacks a chance to win, a chance to get back in this series, you could be in some trouble. And we know that the Texas Rangers have shown us that they've been somewhat slightly chokers. I know some of my Ranger buddies don't want to hear anything like that, but let's keep it real. Let's not play the game. You know that your team's a little suspect, and you know that, if they lose tonight, there's a good possibility that these games become way tougher than what they truly need to be. So, in my opinion, the Rangers need to take care of their business tonight. But the way that the game's setting up is the Diamondbacks should be able to go ahead and win this game because it's the season on the line. It seems like they play their best when the season's on the line. And I think that's exactly the mentality that they're going to have going into the game tonight. So I look forward to this one. It's going to be a great game. And you know what? Regardless if the series finishes tonight or not, it's been a great series. It's been a great playoff run for both teams. It's been a great playoff in general because it delivered. That's exactly what it did. It gave all the underdogs the faith in themselves for next year that they could have the opportunity to possibly get to the World Series. It's not about who's the best anymore. It's about who survives. And that's exactly what the Rangers and Diamondbacks have done. But hopefully we can continue this series because baseball needs it. Baseball fans need it. And you know what? It's great theater as well, too. So with that, let's go ahead and move forward and jump into our next topic at hand. And that's going to be this. That's going to be the MAC Tuesday night. We got two games in the MAC Daddy tonight. Yesterday, we split them up evenly. We had Buffalo did not cover last night, but we did get home the plus 205 money line on Central Michigan last night, who did go ahead and win that game by 6 points, 37-31. That was a hell of a game last night against Northern Illinois. So let's move forward. Let's talk about it. Ball State 2-6. Bowling Green 4-4. We got a 5.5 point spread over under a 39.5 for this game. And you know what? Bowling Green has been impressive to me this year. Yeah, they're 4-4, but they got themselves a good win over a Power 5 team. You know what I mean? And they dominated that Power 5 team that day as well, too. So, they come into this one with the idea that, they have to win this game to keep pushing towards possibly playing in Detroit. Because Bowling Green's in fourth place right now. They're 2-2 in conference play. This would be a strong win for them because this would tie them up with Buffalo and Ohio. And that Bowling Green has already beat Buffalo as well, too. So they do have that working out in their they have that working out in their favor. Also, you have this game that could be a very, very determining factor of what Ball State's going to be for the rest of the year. But Ball State has struggled mightily. So Bowling Green really can't afford the upset here because this game is somewhat of a square, but they're going to give them a 5.5 because Ball State is always going to scrap in the MAC. You know what I mean? They're always going to scrap in the MAC. Just be always ready for that. So pretty much when I look at the stats right now, you got Bowling Green, who is pretty good at they're pretty good at, they're not really good at much, okay, but they're getting 301 yards per game, and they're more of a passing team than they are a rushing team. And they've alternated with quarterbacks a little bit this year too. But at the end of the day, this will be something that's going to be very good because just in case their starter gets hurt, their backup will be ready. And also, they've had a great year on the ground as well. Stewart has been a godsend this year with 670 yards. He had 131 against Akron last week. So this will probably be their main piece for offense, and be ready for that tonight. So pretty much with that, I look at Ball State's situation, and they just going through the motions. They've had a tough ride this year because they've had, they actually played a pretty tough schedule to start the season off. They started off with Kentucky, then they played Georgia, and then they beat Indiana State, and then got pulverized by Georgia Southern, who's one of the best teams in the Sun Belt. So, it's been rough. It's been a rough ride, but that win against Central Michigan was really good last week at home. But they've shown that they're not that great of a road team here in conference play because they've lost both those games by double digits. So with this, I'm going to go ahead and take Bowling Green tonight with the -5. I think they win this game by a touchdown or better. So with that, we move forward. Let's go ahead and jump into our next game, which is going to be a rivalry game between two teams that are about 10 minutes away from each other. And I know about this rivalry somewhat because my mother is alumni for Kent State, and also Akron is right there as well too. So, they spend a lot of time hanging out in Akron as well too because my mother is from Canton, Ohio, the home of the Hall of Fame. So pretty much that's where Kent State is at, and Akron is over in the other Akron's the other town. So Canton and Akron have always had their rivalry. You know what I mean? Where Canton is the Hall of Fame city, and Akron is the Goodyear city where they have the tire factory at. So they got a lot of good things that go on, and this is real America right here when you dealing with these two teams and everything like that. But a lot of local kids from Ohio, a lot of local kids from Michigan and Pennsylvania and all those places, they all come to these schools because that's who picks them up when they can't get to the Big Ten and to the Big 12s and all that good stuff. But all in all, this is one of the funner rivalry games in all of college, and a lot of people don't really know about this one as much as the Ohio States, Michigans of the world and everything like that. But Kent State and Akron always supply some really good games in both football and basketball. And this year, both teams are 1-7. They're both struggling mightily this year. But you know what? That's okay. That does not mean that they're not going to still have a great outcome with the fan bases tonight. But this is a really, really easy game to talk about because both teams are terrible. And it's like, where do you go? You go with the team that's the underdog, okay? And I like Kent State tonight. I'm not going to take them on the money line, but I am going to take them on the spread with the +4. I think they keep this game very close if they don't win this game, and it's going to come down to a final kick from either side, in my opinion. It's going to be a very, very fun game, and I feel like they're going to do a little scoring tonight as well, too. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out, but Kent State and Akron, this should be a really, really good game. I think that we don't have to sit here and go over too long because it's really a toss-up game and it's really pick a side. That's what it truly is. And when you have a game that's pick a side, you don't need to sit up in here and have a whole sermon about that situation. You know what I mean? So with that, we're going to go ahead and take our first commercial break. When I get back, it's time to talk some hoops. And we got State of the Lakers and we got the NBA Wednesday night. So you guys stay tuned. This is the Premier Sports Betting Show, the Primetime Angles with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper. And I'll be right back at you.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners, and I'll have another, and Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
Tune into Big Wave Boxing every week with a brand new guest with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper, getting the best boxing stories, best boxing angles, and the truth when it all comes down to the sweet science. Tune in to Big Wave Boxing on the Prime Wave Media channel on YouTube.
All right, here we are. We are back with the Premier Sports Betting Show, the Primetime Angles, with your one and only, with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper. So let's go ahead and jump into our NBA stuff for tonight. And you already know it's Lakers Clippers tonight. So you know everybody's going to have their say and everybody's going to try to say this is the Battle of LA and blah, 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 blah. Whoop, 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 whoop. But let's just go ahead and let's just keep it real. There is no such thing as the Battle of LA because the Lakers own LA. It does not matter what the Clippers do. It does not matter if the Clippers have a nice little 11-game winning streak going at this time. They are not ever going to supplant the Lakers as the city's favorite team. Even when the Lakers were losing 60 games a season, the Clippers still weren't the draw in LA, and they were one of the top teams in the NBA at that point. So we can just stop that whole little conversation right there. We know that. But I'm not trying to be cocky or anything like that because I know over the last decade, the Clippers have absolutely owned the Lakers, like literally since about 2008. Even when the Lakers were winning titles, back to back, they still were having issues with the Clippers. But it really turned for the worse about 2012, 2013. When guys like Chris Paul got there, things got really nasty. You know what I mean? And the Lakers just have been very bad against the Clippers since LeBron has played. I think LeBron has probably beat them twice since he's been on the Lakers, And the last time they beat the Clippers, it was actually in the bubble. And this was a week before the playoffs started. And everybody had this idea the Lakers and Clippers were going to meet up in the conference finals that year. And what happened was that the Clippers lost to the Nuggets after having a 3-1 lead and lost to the Nuggets 4-3. So the Lakers didn't have their dance partner, and the Lakers went ahead and won the finals anyway. So, the Clippers still ringless. The Lakers have been kind of a back and forth team, but they did get to the conference finals last year. So this is a great game tonight because this is going to be the last game that the Clippers are going to play without James Harden because he'll be back for the next game. He's the newly acquired James Harden, and you really wish Harden would have played tonight. I know ESPN was really begging the Clippers to kind of force the issue with him to play tonight, but he's just not ready to play yet. You know what I mean? I think that it's probably going to take about another week before Harden really gets comfortable with actually stepping on the court with his new team, because he has to learn their tendencies, he has to learn their ways, and he wants to be somebody that's not going to shake the table. You know, he wants to come in and just win basketball games. I know that's exactly what James Harden wants to do, because, you know, at the end of the day, they're all great ball players, but they get put in situations where it's just too much pressure for them. And I think that's exactly what happened to James Harden in Philadelphia. They were asking him to do so much in Philadelphia, and they got Joel Embiid for all that as well, too. You got Tobias Harris. You got a complete team. But they were asking James to be in there trying to be the guy that he was 5, 6, 7 years ago when he was at the MVP level. And at this point in James's career, he's more of a leader, distributor, shooter type person that doesn't want to be that vocal with teams. He wants these guys to get it on their own. He spent a long time in Houston being vocal and being the centerpiece of a team, and that didn't work. When he is a guy that's just another player out there that actually just contributes to the overall wellness of the team, he's one of the best. Because I know James Harden. I've been rocking with James Harden since Artesia High School, when him and Renardo Sidney, Malik Story beat the Dominguez boys for the sectional title, and then went off and won the state title as well too against McClymonds High School. So I'm very aware of who this team is and what they are and what they can be, and they have a great facilitator in Harden. Harden can really move the pill, and then he can hit shots when there's time to hit that shot. So it's going to be a very good thing for the Clippers moving forward, because they're going to make them comfortable. And the Lakers, this is something that they're going to have to fix. They're going to have to probably get rid of these 4 no-name players that they have and figure out a way to where they can trade these guys, because they're not going to be able to they're not helping anything. They truly aren't. The Lakers are running 8 deep. Once again, the Lakers are running, I think, 7 deep, really, in reality. 8 deep, possibly. And they need to be stronger than that during the season. They need to be 9, 10, 11 deep, you know. And I think that, you know, Castleton and Christie and Hodge and whatever the other guy's name is, you know, if you guys aren't going to be really great basketball players or good basketball players and just be guys that are practice players, you're worthless to the Lakers, dude. The Lakers need guys that are all hands on deck. We're in a new NBA now. You don't have the luxury of having 3 guys that can linger on the bench anymore. Those 3 guys got to be able to play basketball and play it well. And I know they all know how to play. They're professionals, all that good stuff. But I'm talking about when you get your number called, you go out there and you kill, not you work yourself into it. The Lakers need confident players, and I don't see a lot of confident players on this team. And until they fix that, just forget about winning championships, things of that nature, being somebody that's going to be in the race, being one of the top teams in the NBA. That's not happening. Because you have old LeBron James, you have a timid AD, and you have a diva in D'Angelo Russell. So if you can get everybody on the same page, everybody's going to be able to do some big things. That's why tonight's Clipper game, I don't understand why the Lakers are such a big favorite. There's no reason for that, because the Lakers are not better than the Clippers. I hate to talk like this, but yeah, the Clippers are a little short-handed tonight, but still, Kawhi, Russ, and PG-13 are still going to give the Clippers fits. It doesn't matter. That's what they do. And the Lakers have to step up their game tonight, period, point blank. And they're going to have to be better as an overall unit tonight. Austin Reeves needs to do more than just be out there looking goofy. Rui Hachimura needs to get more playing time. And you need to get more from your 2 bigs and Hayes and Wood. I'm sorry, you got to get more from those guys. And then Gabe Vincent's probably going to be out tonight. So that possibly means that Matt Christie's going to get some playing time tonight, or probably we could possibly see the debut of JHS Hood Shafino. So we'll see how it goes. But all in all, the way that I see this one shaping up tonight with the Lakers is it being a really good game, but the Lakers got to finish. The Clippers know how to finish, but will the Lakers know how to finish? And the Lakers have to look at the Clippers like the Clippers look at them, that this game is very important to the overall psyche of our team. That's what helps. This is what boosts the Clippers up, beating the Lakers. That's what keeps them motivated to keep whooping the Lakers' ass. You know what I mean? So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out, but that's that, and we move forward from there. All right. So let's go ahead and talk about NBA Wednesday night. We got ourselves a full deck tonight. We got 13 games in place. So that means 26 teams are on the board tonight to play basketball. And we got the 5 games to talk about. The first one we're going to talk about is the Bucks 2-1 at the Raptors 1-3. We got a +4.5 to the Raptors and a 215.5 point total to the game. So pretty much tonight you have a Bucks team that is, they did get whooped the other night by the other day by the Hawks, but they bounced back right away, got an 8-point win, revenge win Monday night over the Bucks. I mean, not the Bucks, but over the Heat. And that was pretty good for them. And then the Raptors, they are struggling because they won opening night against Minnesota, looking good at home, all that good stuff. Then they lose 3 in a row. But they lost these 3 in a row all by single digits. They lost to the Bulls by 1. They lost to Philly by 7. And then they lose to Portland by 8. And both those games were back-to-back at home. So this is going to be their 3rd home game in a row and their 4th home game out of their first 5 games this season. So this is going to be a game where they really do need to, step it up before things start getting a little bit besides them. But I know that they're not really playing for the playoffs this year. They're playing more as for building a group because they have made some trades and things like that are going to be very helpful for them in this upcoming draft this year. But let's stop talking about the draft in November. Like, that's just so dumb to me. Like, give teams an opportunity to lose 40 games before we start really talking about the draft. And I think the Raptors are another sneaky team. If they can figure out a way to start winning games, they'll figure out a way to make the playoffs, silently. But I like the Raptors tonight with the upset at home. I know that they've struggled. They lost the last 3 in a row. But I think that Milwaukee is not going to take them as seriously as they should. And people have to understand, the Raptors always play up to the top teams in the NBA. And pretty much they figure out ways to get these little sneaky ass wins or get a 10-point win nobody sees coming, because a lot of times teams get to playing, and by the time, if they're still getting beat by the Raptors by a certain amount, they just throw in the white flag by the time they get to the 4th quarter. So I'm going to go ahead and take the Raptors tonight as my dog of the day to start the month of November with the +165 money line. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out, and we move forward from there. All right, we have ourselves up next, the Pelicans 2-1 at the Thunder 3-1. Thunder are a 3.5-point favorite tonight with a 227.5 over under. So pretty much tonight we have the Pelicans who are ready to go ahead and get back in the win column after falling to the Warriors. Them and the Warriors have such a great rapport, such a great back and forth with each other. But it is what it is at the end of the day. Sometimes is where a team just knows how to beat you. And I feel like in a lightweight way that you have a Pelicans team that really has kind of turned the corner. You know what I mean? They're not lowly anymore. They're really a team you have to take seriously in the NBA nowadays. And you look at this shit and you say to yourself, the other day when they played the Warriors, they just were out of their element in a sense. The Warriors really played up to that game. The Warriors grabbed 64 rebounds because they're on a revenge tour. One of the teams that you got people have to understand, the Pelicans beat them by 40 twice last year. No Zion. They beat them by 40 points last year, both games on the road. So that was pretty sweet for them. But the Pelicans come back into tonight, shrug off your shoulders. They're back on the road. You know, first two games, they had beat Memphis opening night on the road, and they had two games at home. Now they get back on the good foot, and they're going against a team that possibly has the idea that, they've made it. They've turned the corner. Now we are the Thunder, and we're real with this, and they walked into the game with the Nuggets, and they wound up getting beat by 33 points. So they're not all the way there yet. They just beat up on teams that it was easy to beat up on, and those three teams they beat were all Eastern Conference teams. So, at the end of the day, this is something that's going to be good for them to measure up with. How do they measure against the West for real? Seems like they're really good against the East, but they're not doing much against the West, okay? So we will see how they are tonight. Now, when you look at the leaders going into the game, Ingram's getting 22 points a night, while you got SAG getting 26 points a night. So that's going to be the main matchup that everybody's looking at. And you know what? SAG is trying to put on a MVP performance very early in the season. He leads the team in rebounds. He leads the team in assists. And Holmgren's getting almost 3 blocks a game. So this team has different confidence to them. They don't care about having stars. They just want to win basketball games. And that's something that's dangerous in the NBA. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. But this game, to me, winds up being more about watching the scoreboard. So I'm going to take the over 227.5 in this spot. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. We move forward from there. Okay, so we move on to our next, which is going to be the Nuggets and the Wolves. The Nuggets and the Wolves, both, they're coming into this season with high expectations. The Nuggets think that they can go back-to-back. The Wolves think that they can be one of the better teams in the Western Conference, if not the NBA. And I think that both these kind of bold true that these teams have strong opportunities to get to their goals. But they have to get through each other first, and they have made the Northwest one of the tougher divisions in basketball, because we all know the toughest division in the West is the Pacific, but one of the toughest divisions in basketball, though, that varies, and this is one of them, because you got the Wolves, you got the Nuggets, you got the now OKC's balling out. Also, you have who else do we have in this conference? Because sometimes you get a little sidetracked on who the hell they have in this conference. Yeah, you still got Utah. Utah is not that great. Okay, that's Utah's. We can throw them out. And Portland is a work in progress. But there are three top teams are really good teams that have been built very, very concisely, in my opinion. And I truly do feel that when you got a guy like Ant Edwards, you can do a lot. You can do a lot of things. And Ant Edwards has the luxury of having Cat and Rudy Gobert. So he has two of the biggest guys in the league playing on the box for him. But I truly think that they need a little bit more. And if they have to move one of those guys, they could possibly bring him another wing that could be very, feasible for him. But at the end of the day, you just hope Minnesota doesn't get caught in the same hype that they did when they had Levine, Wiggins, and Cat, where they just go stagnant, because this group is better, in my opinion. Now, the Nuggets, they come into this one, Murray and Jokic, literally the best duo in the NBA right now. I don't care what any of y'all say. And that's what pretty much gets Denver going at the end of the day. Jokic can give you the 40, or Jamal gonna give you the 40. It don't matter. These guys are in unison like every great duo. And when you have a great duo that's in unison the way that they are, the rest of the team falls in line. That's exactly what they do. They fall in line because they know they got two guys they can rely on. But at the same time, too, they know that those two guys got a full team to rely on. So they are just all in 1 year, 4 year right now. And it's really looking beautiful right now for the Nuggets. And, this 4-0 is not no fluke 4-0 like a lot of teams are when they start a season off. This is a very good 4-0, very dominant wins. So, at the end of the day, this is going to be a very, very fun game. And where I'm going to go with this one is I'm going to actually take the under because it was too close to call. You see, it's a 2.5-point spread. So, the spread is kind of moody. They're saying that it's a 50-50 game. But I'm looking at the over-under, and they're telling me it's going to be a defensive game. So I'm going to take the under 219.5. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. We move forward from there. All right, so we have our next game coming up, which is going to be this one right here, which is going to be the Bulls and the Mavericks. The Bulls coming here 2-2. The Mavericks are 3-0, another undefeated team. They're a 5.5-point favorite with the over-under at 224.5. And this game winds up being a very, very it's kind of it looks like a one side when you really look at it on paper, but you still got Levine and DeRozan on the Bull side. And then, you got Kyrie and Luka on the Mav side. So this should be a really fun game tonight because there's a lot that goes into games like this one right here. And I truly do feel that the Mavericks should be on point tonight, and they should really not have that many issues with the Bulls team that's still struggling to find out exactly who they are. And the Bulls, man, it's really like, damn, when are y'all going to come on? You know what I mean? Like, that the Bulls have spent a lot of money on some really good players to be, good enough to get into the playoffs. And it seems like they're not being able to have that click at all. So hopefully they can get something going very soon. But tonight, I just don't see it. I think that the Mavericks are going to have a great night tonight. They're going to wind up beating this team by 8 or more points. I got to put 8 or more points on it. Even though I only need to beat them by 6, I got to be a little extra here. You know what I mean? I got to make sure that they beat them, and I don't have to worry about getting it out by the hairs of my chinny chin chin. So I do like the Mavericks tonight with the 5.5-point spread. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out. And that's going to be our bet for the Bulls and the Mavericks tonight. All right, so let's go ahead and get into our final game of the group, and that's going to be the Kings and the Warriors in the nightcap. And this is going to be a Kings team that's 2-1 right now, while the Warriors coming in here 3-1 right now. And then you have an over-under 227.5. And the Warriors are a 7.5-point favorite. Reason being, De'Aaron Fox is out tonight. You guys know that for the next few weeks. He will not be in games because he got an ankle issue. And also, come on, the Warriors are playing pissed off. They're playing like a team that's been disrespected. And they're playing like a team that wants to show a certain somebody that they can roll on without him. That's why you brought in Chris Paul. So then, just in case Draymond's not the same Draymond, you got somebody who's the equivalent of Draymond, but better. Okay? And Chris Paul has been out of this world for the Warriors, man. He's been good. He adds those extra 9 to 12 assists that they need to really get over the top. Also, he's adding in those extra points as well, too, something that you're not going to get from Draymond night in and night out. So this has actually been what it always was an upgrade, because when you look at the players that the Warriors gave up and the players that they lost over the summer, they were always looking for somebody, for those guys to do exactly what Chris Paul is doing, but they used to have it as almost a committee. Now they got it in just one guy. So there's a lot of things that are looking for on the up and up for the Warriors, and the Warriors have presented themselves as the danger in the Pacific Division as well too this year. And then you got Gary Payton Jr. playing some great defense as well too. Curry's averaging 33.5 points a night. That's good production for now, until as long as you have him healthy for this point in time. Steph is going to have the moment where he has to sit out for a week or two. So, it's good that you're getting all this right now. So, this is going to be a good game tonight. And I know a lot of people are going to overbet the Warriors with the idea that the Warriors should be able to just trounce the Kings. But this is the battle of the Bay. And I know De'Aaron's not going to be in the house tonight, but you still got Sabonis, you still got Monk, you still got Keegan. So let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out. Give me the Kings +7, and hopefully we can go ahead and get this one home. So with that, that's going to be a wrap on our NBA Wednesday night. So pretty much when I get back, we're going to go ahead and jump into talking tickets. And I got some good ones here for you guys tonight as well, too. So you guys stay tuned. This is the Premier Sports Betting Show, the Primetime Angles with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper.
Now you and your friends can compete in the sport of kings and win big with Stable Duel. Get the app, pick your horses, and get in on the thrill of horse racing with daily games competing against other players. Bring home the glory and the cash and move up the annual leaderboard while you leave your competition in the dust. Get in the game with Stable Duel. Play, race, win.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners and I'll Have Another and Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
All right, here we are. Let's go ahead and jump into our final segment, which is Talking Tickets. Talking Tickets, you know, I love me some Talking Tickets, man. Talking Tickets is really pretty much the lifeblood of this show. If you've been watching me for almost 10 years, you know, since we've been doing all this stuff, you know that Talking Tickets has always been the key point of the show. Capcast, Primetime Angles, you know, all the Boxing 101, you know, Hoops 101 and, you know, all that good stuff, big wave boxing, all that. So pretty much here we are. Ball State, Bowling Green bets. We got Bowling Green, like I said, -5 tonight. Bowling Green first half money line -175. Then we're gonna play the first quarter, the under 7.5 -120, and then we got Bowling Green over 22.5 team total -145. We move forward and we have ourselves Kent State and the Akron bets. We got Kent State +4. Also, the over 19.5 first half -105. Kent State money line +115 first quarter, and then the over 40 +115 alternate line. We move forward. Now we have ourselves the NBA Super High 5, 34-1. We got the Raptors money line +165. We also have the over 227.5 Pels Thunder. We also have the under 219.5 with the Nuggets and the Wolves. Then we have the Mavs -5. And then we also end up with the Kings +7. This is going to be a 34-1 ticket. We move forward from there. All right, we have ourselves the World Series Game 5 bets. It's do or die time for the Diamondbacks. So I'm going to have to go ahead and ride that wave one last time because I did choose them to win the World Series. So pretty much, and I shouldn't say one last time because really I just got to prepare myself for what may happen tonight. But I think the Diamondbacks are going to be good enough tonight to get this win here because there's going to be a lot of pressure on the Rangers. I don't know if the Rangers played that well with pressure. So, and it showed. It showed. Okay, so 1.5 to the Diamondbacks +185. Diamondbacks money line -120. First 5 innings. Rangers under 4.5 -130. And then the under 7 +175 alternate for the over under. So that's going to be our bets tonight for the World Series. And that's going to be our bets in general tonight in the MLB, NBA, and college football and the Mac Daddy. So pretty much with that, I thank you guys very much for tuning in today. Absolutely great show. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. And if you enjoy it so much, make sure you share it, you retweet it, you send it out to friends, you do what you got to do. You know what I mean? Let's get these numbers up. All right. Let's stop playing. Okay. And, you know, it's all love as always. So pretty much with that, this is the Premier Sports Betting Show, the Primetime Angles with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper. And as I always say, bet with your head, not with your heart. The movement is moving, and I am gone.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.